Following is a presentation of News Radio 1490 KBUR Sports.
The great Bambino once said, "Every strike brings me closer to the next home run." And just like the Babe, the Bees hope every game, win or loss in the first half, will help them in the second half as they try another run at the playoffs starting tonight. You'll catch Bees baseball here on News Radio 1490 KBUR and KBUR.com.
Discover the advantages of membership. K-Spine Community Credit Union. It's where you belong. Now, here's the voice of the Bees, Daniel Trivinos.
The Bees might not have enjoyed their overall record in the first half, but at 32-37, this Bees squad merely displayed moments of subpar and stellar play. They may have lost some games they should have won, but that's baseball, folks, and tonight they get a fresh start as the second half of the season starts. And in the Bees' eyes, every team is 0-0. And as always, with that, we say hello and welcome to Community Field in Burlington, Iowa. I'm Dan Trivinos, broadcasting Burlington Bees baseball on News Radio 1490 KBUR. You're tuned into the Bees K-Spine Community Credit Union pregame show. And tonight, the Bees play Game 1 of the second half and of a three-game series with the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. The Rattlers finished the first half with the best record in the Western Division and have already clinched a spot in the playoffs after finishing the first half with a record of 44-25. Once again, the Bees finished at 32-37, a similar record to their 31-37 mark in the second half of the 2011 season. And the Bees asked right-hander Max Perlman to start the second half of the season off with a good bang. Perlman, so far on the season, is 1-3 with a 2.83 ERA. In his last start, the Bees failed to sweep the Colonels back on June 14th. In Cedar Rapids, Perlman suffered from a poor defensive effort and faced trouble in almost every inning. He allowed 2 runs in the first inning, 2 in the third, and another run in the fourth inning. But the Bees committed an error in the first and fourth, which meant only 3 of the 5 runs Perlman allowed were earned. He struck out 3 batters while not walking 1. He earned the loss in only his second start of the season. The tall right-hander hasn't won since May 19th against Beloit. The Timber Rattlers will have right-hander Matt Miller taking them up to start tonight. Miller, 5-5 on the season with a 4.18 ERA so far. In his last start, Miller matched his professional high for strikeouts in a game with 8 at Clinton on June 13th. Miller also walked 1, allowed a run on 5 hits over 6 innings, and picked up the win at Ashford University Field, again over the Clinton Lumber Kings. First pitch of Game 1, scheduled for 6:30 p.m. tonight, and the Bees overall in night games so far this season are 23-31. And it's been a while since the last game with the All-Star break preceding tonight's contest, but let's briefly look back at that last game that the Bees played back in Beloit. The Bees received another strong performance from A.J. Cole and defeated the Beloit Snappers 6-2 on that Sunday afternoon before the All-Star break. Now, what did that mean? The Bees prevented the Snappers from becoming the third team to win 40 games in the first half of the season. Obviously, the Bees won 2 in a row before the end of the first half. A.J. Cole looked great and scattered 5 hits and 2 earned runs in 5 innings of work. He didn't walk 1 batter and managed to strike out 6. He leads the rotation in strikeouts per 9 innings with a 10.1 average. The bullpen didn't allow a run in 4 innings and K'd 4, while only walking 1 as well. And as for the defense, the Bees did not commit an error in Game 3 and actually finished the first half by avoiding an error in the last 3 games. And the offense. Bobby Crocker tied up the game in the top of the 6th with his 5th home run, a 2-run home run. Royce Consigli smacked his 5th to give the Bees a 3-2 lead in the 7th. Douglas Landietta actually went 3 for 4 with an RBI in the 8th. And Sean Jameson hit his 4th home run in the 9th inning, a 2-run home run to help the Bees win 6-2. Well, when we come back to the Bees K-Spine Community Credit Union pregame show, we'll discuss our picks to click and the keys to tonight's game. And then we'll be close to Bees baseball on News Radio 1490 KBUR and KBUR.com. Welcome back to the Bees K-Spine Community Credit Union pregame show. I'm Daniel Trivinos, broadcasting for KBUR 1490. We're waiting the start of Game 1 of the second half of the season. Again, it's the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers visiting the Burlington Bees. And folks, if you haven't made it out to the park yet, just want to let you know it's Big Fun Friday, sponsored by Budweiser. You can get 16-ounce cans of Bud and Busch Light for just $3.25. Well, as always, we like to voice our selections for our Pick-to-Click Challenge as early as possible. And again, briefly recap what the Pick-to-Click Challenge is. Obviously, there's a player of the game in every game. We can always find at least one highlight, either offensively, defensively, or on the mound for the Bees, whether it's a win or a loss. But as far as our picks to click, we're actually trying to pinpoint who it will be at the start of the game. Sometimes you can have the same pick-to-click winner as the player of the game. Sometimes you can get lucky and get both of them right in two different guesses. And, of course, you can always email the broadcast at daniel@gobees.com, or you can obviously voice your opinion on the Facebook page for the Burlington Bees. Hopefully you've already liked us by now. And, of course, in the second half, we're really going to keep track of who's winning in these pick-to-click challenges. We weren't doing a great job of that in the first half, but in the second half, we will do it in earnest for sure. And as for our picks to click, KBUR picking left fielder Rashawn Dixon. Dixon hit 2 home runs in that final road trip for the Bees before the end of the first half. He now has a total of 4 home runs on the season with the Bees since joining the Bees in late May. As for myself, I'm picking Sean Jameson. The shortstop has done very well against the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. In fact, Jameson's first 2 home runs of the season came against Wisconsin in mid-May. He's hitting .296 against the T-Rats with 8 hits and 6 walks in 8 games. He also had a leadoff home run on the first pitch he saw against Drew Gagnon way back in mid-May. And then our fans have already voiced their opinion. We have a vote for Max Perlman, who's making his 3rd start of the season tonight. And Max will try to get his first win in 8 appearances. It's been a while. Last time he had a win, actually got that win on May 19th against Beloit. So it has been a good amount of time. But in his first start, he was stellar. He actually went 5 innings, only allowed 1 run, it was earned, and 3 hits. Went 5 innings again in his last start, and will look to do that again with a long rest since he hasn't pitched since June 14th. Well, before we break, just want to mention a couple things to watch for in the game. We already mentioned one of them. Sean Jameson versus Wisconsin. He's had plenty of success this season against the Timber Rattlers. Another one, the Bees versus today's starter, and that's Matt Miller, who is 0-3 with a 7.20 ERA in 3 starts against the Bees. In his last start, he only lasted 3 innings and allowed 4 runs. Miller also took the loss when the Bees ended their first 5-game losing streak of the season. Well, when we come back to the Bees Case By Community Credit Union pregame show, we'll share the weather report and the starting lineups if we have a chance, as the one final preview before the Bees kick off the second half of the season at home. So stay tuned. It's Bees Baseball on News Radio 1490 KBUR and KBUR.com. Welcome back to the Bees Case By Community Credit Union pregame show. I'm Daniel Trivinos, broadcasting for KBUR 1490 from Community Field. Of course, game 1 of a 3-game series will start in just a little while at about 6:30 p.m. At least that's the scheduled first pitch of game 1 of the second half as well. And again, it's the Bees versus the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers here in Burlington, Iowa. And before the game starts, let's take time to present the game's weather report brought to you by Gary Roberts Insurance. Gary's a baseball fan just like you, but he's not a fan of what the Midwest weather can do to your property on any given day. So call Gary at 754-7070. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. 82 degrees and sunny at game time here in Burlington. Humidity at about 39%. We'll get up to about 65%. And the low tonight at 69 degrees. And it should be mostly clear throughout the night. Have not seen any forecast for any rain. In fact, only a 10% chance of precipitation at the start of the game. And that'll drop down to 0. A 0% chance at midnight tonight. And the wind blowing at about 4 miles per hour. Can't even tell where it's going because the flag is completely flat against the pole out over the center field wall. So we'll have to wait and see if the wind picks up, although the forecast says it will not. And again, sunny throughout the day. Just a gorgeous day here along the Mississippi River in Burlington, Iowa. Well, let's share the starting lineups for this game as well before this game gets started, as we are just waiting to start this game. Waiting for the national anthem, of course. As for the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, leading it off and playing third base, number 2, Brandon Macias. Batting second and playing right field, number 6, Max Walla. Batting third and playing center field, number 9, Mitch Henniger. Batting fourth and playing first base, number 33, Nick Ramirez. Batting fifth and playing second base, number 10, Greg Hopkins. Batting sixth and playing left field, number 15, Ben McMahon. Batting seventh and hitting as the designated hitter for the Timber Rattlers, number 16, Cameron Garfield. Batting eighth and catching for the Timber Rattlers, number 12, Rafael Neda. Batting ninth and playing shortstop, number 13, Yadiel Rivera. And then pitching for Wisconsin, it's the right-hander, number 23, Matt Miller. And the Bees will counter with their lineup, and leading it off for the Bees and hitting as the designated hitter, number 4, Eliza Mesa. Batting second and playing shortstop, number 7, Sean Jamison. Batting third and playing third, number 30, B.A. Volmuth. Batting fourth and playing left field, number 2, Rashawn Dixon. Batting fifth and playing right field, number 24, Bobby Crocker. Batting sixth and playing first base, number 19, Nick Riggles. Batting seventh and playing second base, number 3, Ryan Pineda. Batting eighth and playing center field, number 15, Aaron Shipman. Batting ninth and catching for the Bees, number 23, John Nestor. And pitching for the Burlington Bees, the right-hander, the tall right-hander, number 21, Max Perlman. Well, again, the Bees had a couple of guys in the All-Star game. Obviously, Sean Jamison, Seth Frankoff, and Drew Grenier all represented the Bees in the 2012 Midwest League All-Star game. Jamison went 0 for 1 and was hit by a pitch. Frankoff pitched 2/3 of an inning with a strikeout. Grenier pitched 2/3 of an inning, struck out a batter, but actually took the loss. The Western Division lost with a final score of 18-2. So not necessarily the All-Star game that you'd hope for if you're part of the West, as the Bees are, but nevertheless, it is just an All-Star game. It is just a festivity. And it's really just to honor these players and the good first half that they had. And 3 Bees certainly stood out in Jamison, Frankoff, and Grenier. And we also have some more news and notes for you. The Midwest League named Bobby Crocker the batter of the week for the final week of the first half. Crocker hit .391 with a .548 on-base percentage and an .870 slugging percentage, which is outstanding. He had 3 home runs and 10 RBIs. He was the first Bee to win the Player of the Week award since Sean Murphy and Dusty Robinson accomplished the feat at the end of April. So it's been a while for the Bees. Obviously, they got off to a hot start in that category. But again, Bobby Crocker winning the Player of the Week award for that final week of the first half. Well, they are taking the field, and that's good to see. It's been a while. It's been too long. Hopefully you've all enjoyed the break from baseball, but you're also hungry for some more baseball. And obviously the Bees hungry to turn their season around, and they'll try to do that starting tonight. Again, everybody starts with a fresh record, 0-0 here in the second half, and the Bees have just as good of a chance to get to the playoffs as anyone. Well, they've taken the field. So with that, we'll say thank you for joining the Bees Case Buy Community Credit Union pregame show. But don't go away now. Bees baseball is coming up next on News Radio 1490 KBUR and KBUR.com.